You know those people who make life look easy, like life just seems to work for them and all of the doors are just open. They get the job promotion or they go on vacation a few times a year. They get things done, but they're not constantly hustling or rushing or stressing, and they have these opportunities that feel so out of reach. And you think, well, maybe they just have something that I don't and never will have. No, here's the truth. It is not luck or money or race or beauty or power. They have privileged mindsets and habits. And once I learned them and started adopting them, literally everything in my life started to change. I started getting the same results with open doors and opportunities and flexibility over my life and over my schedule. My life started feeling lighter and freer and almost effortless. And so today I am breaking down 6 privileged habits that really changed everything for me and how you can start practicing them too. If you've been here a while, you know that we talk a lot about having a privileged mindset where you walk in this worth and confidence and peace no matter what your circumstances are. If you are new to that idea, I always like to explain it because I truly do know how the word can feel off-putting. No, I am not talking about being born into money or having this sense of entitlement because of whatever characteristic that you possess. But I'm talking about the decision to see yourself as worthy of good things and to show up for yourself and to move through life with that belief. Several years ago, I started studying people who lived like life wasn't a struggle. While I felt like life was this constant game of hustle until you make it, they were living free. And yes, some of them had the classic hallmarks of what society sees as privilege, but others didn't, and they still lived with this freedom. I realized that how they approached life was just different. And once I saw that, I was immediately like, oh, I can do that. Because the beautiful thing about the way that God has created us is that our minds and beliefs paired with action can do one of two things. They can either cause us to level up to where it is that we want to be, or be the very thing that keeps us stuck, believing that we can't because we don't have fill in the blank. And so I started calling it a privileged mindset. And when I adopted it, it totally changed my life because I saw that you do start having access to things and opportunities and open doors that most people never get to because all they see are closed doors. Now that that's done, let's talk about these habits. 1, maintaining high standards in small things. When you have a privileged mindset, having high standards starts in all of the small moments. Before I started living like this, I was what I would call a special occasion hoarder. All the good stuff, literally all of the good stuff would be saved for later. Good lotions and skincare and fancy candles and new outfits. My closet was full of stuff that I was going to throw down on someday. I saw it so clearly when I really first started focusing on decluttering as a way to just empty my life of all of these things that I had held onto for years. And I realized that there was this block around treating myself well. That block meant that 99.9% of days would never be special enough. It kicked me in the butt so hard because I knew that it kept me stuck in this place of scarcity and survival and really just expecting less. That is not a privileged mindset. Here's the thing. How you treat yourself is a reflection of what you believe that you deserve. So many women want to live this soft life and they think it means waiting for somebody to swoop in and be this Captain Save you to make things easier. But a soft life comes in how you start treating yourself now in all of the small ways. If you only treat yourself well and allow yourself nice things on, say, birthdays and holidays, you train your mind to believe that joy and ease have to be earned. But when you lather that good lotion all over yourself on a random Tuesday, or you spritz on your favorite perfume just to go run groceries, you teach your brain that this is who I am now. That is a privileged mindset. And it's not arrogance, it is awareness. It's having this understanding that someday isn't guaranteed and that you don't need permission to live well today. When I made that shift, regular days started to feel like an occasion. My mornings and evenings felt softer. My confidence grew. And it wasn't because I was buying anything new, but because I started enjoying what I had and also treating like what I already had was enough. And that's what having high standards really does. It's not a list of rules, but reminders that your life either rises or falls to the level of what you tolerate. For someone with a privileged mindset, excellent isn't about extravagance. It is about intention. It is the decision to live in alignment and to let even the smallest things in your life reflect the energy of the woman that you see yourself as, the woman that you are becoming and that you want to be. So, what does that look like practically? And what can that look like for you? Stop waiting for an audience to show up before you start showing up well. Make your bed. Use real plates instead of paper ones. Keep your space, your home, your car, your workplace cared for. Not because you are trying to impress anybody, but because you are making peace be your baseline. Start giving your brain the signal that you value yourself in your external environment and in how you treat yourself, and watch how it levels up not only what you expect, but also what you receive. Stop entertaining chaos. People with privileged mindsets guard their own peace like it is their paycheck. Peace keeps you clear and creative, and it is what allows you to be able to hear from God and actually follow through on what it is that He's telling you to do. I'm going to say this, and it's going to rub a few of you the wrong way, but do know it is all in love. Privileged women do not let messiness just like ride out. They don't keep messy friends or environments or thoughts. If something or someone feels draining or heavy or chaotic, they either address it or get rid of it, period. And listen, I had to learn this the hard way. So if you are feeling spanked, girl, no, I did it to myself as well. For a long time, my life was full of clutter. And it wasn't just the piles that were hidden away in the corners and the bins of my home, but it was the constant noise in my mind and my crazy schedule. And yes, even some people who I just couldn't keep in my life. I was always drained, always behind, always tired, always just trying. And it felt like no matter what I did, I could never catch up because I was trying to create peace while at the same time entertaining chaos. But when I started letting go, that was when things finally shifted because I now had space for peace to actually move into my life. Here's the thing. Chaos is expensive. It costs you peace and time and joy. And peace and chaos are like oil and water. They just do not mix. They cannot happily coexist together. So you have to intentionally get rid of chaos so that you can make room for peace. You cannot allow constant drama or distraction to just set up residence in your mind. You cannot chase every opinion or fight every battle. You have to choose calm and peace on purpose. When you start doing that and you stop giving chaos a seat at the table, then life starts feeling a whole lot easier. Speak with intention. One of the most powerful privileged habits that makes life feel soft and effortless is found in how we speak. You can tell when someone walks in this mindset because they generally do not speak negatively about themselves. When you understand that life and death are in the power of the tongue, then you stop using your words carelessly. I have had to check myself in this area too. And sometimes it is a daily or a weekly thing where I have to remind myself, no, we don't talk like that. I used to say things like, oh, I'm always so overwhelmed, or I don't ever have any time, and other thoughtless statements. And sure enough, that was what my life was looking like. Your words don't just describe your world, they actually design it. Now, when I think something negative, I catch it, I don't say it, and I flip it around. When I'm feeling like I'm not having enough time to do all of the things that I want to do, what I will say instead is, okay, I'm not prioritizing this right now. Or if I'm in a season where I have a lot on my plate, I'll say something like, well, right now I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, but I am getting it done and this will pass. This puts the ball of control back in my court because I have learned that what I speak over my life, my mind really does get to work to prove that true. Privileged women understand that and they speak like what they want already exists because in faith, it does. They know that their voice carries power and that their words are not just sound, but they're seeds. At the end of the day, what you say sets the tone for how you live. And people with privileged mindsets have decided that the soundtrack of their life is going to be faith, not fear, not hustle, not rush, not all of this other negative stuff. By speaking peace and favor and abundance, your actions and environment start aligning with that truth, assuming it will work out. When the idea of doing something new or different comes up, most people immediately go to, well, what if it doesn't work out? People with privileged mindsets think, Well, why wouldn't it work out? That one tiny shift changes everything because your energy and how you respond follows your expectations. When you expect failure, you start preparing for it. You play small, you hesitate, you second guess every single move. You hesitate to even start because somewhere deep down, you have already decided that it's probably not going to work out for you anyway. But when you expect things to work in your favor and you walk with this quiet confidence that life is working for you, not against you, you start moving differently. You stop overthinking. You stop talking yourself out of blessings. You start saying yes to opportunities that stretch you, even when you don't have every detail figured out. And that's the difference because most people, in fact, the vast majority of people wait for clarity before they move, whereas people with privileged mindsets move and know that the clarity will come. And that's not delusion. That is a faith that says, even if I don't know every detail, I am trusting that things are going to work out. I remember when I started my YouTube channel, I had no experience, no roadmap. I honestly had no clue what I was doing most of the time. And many times it just felt like a stab in the dark. But I was so convinced that it was something that I needed to do and that it was going to work out. And so that's how I showed up. Now, was it easy? No. In fact, there were many, many lessons learned along the way. But has it worked out? Yeah, it has. So, how do you apply that to your life and whatever it is that you're hoping to achieve? Assume favor and walk in that. That is the heart of a privileged mindset. When you move from faith, it allows you to stop gripping so tightly onto what you know and start trusting that the details will sort themselves out. When the door cracks open, don't stand outside over analyzing it. Girl, walk through it. Instead of talking yourself out of opportunities, start saying yes to them. Instead of overthinking every detail until it perfectly makes sense in your own brain, do something in the direction of where you are working to go. When you do that, more doors will open because people feel that energy. That doesn't mean that you don't work hard or that you don't use wisdom, but it means that you don't make fear your strategy. Babe, you cannot live an extraordinary life while expecting the worst. People with privileged mindsets know this. And so they assume favor, they assume grace, they assume that things will align. And because of that, they usually do. Resting without guilt. For so many of us, especially women, rest feels like this elusive reward instead of the requirement that it is. We rest only after everything is done or everyone's okay or the to-do list is completely cleared. And that's why you're tired all the time because that to-do list will never be done. There will always be one more thing, one more responsibility, one more email waiting for you. People with privileged mindsets know this. And so they rest on purpose. Rest is a form of resistance in a world that glorifies burnout. It's rebellion against this idea and this belief that your worth is tied to just going until you can't go anymore. And for women especially, that is a radical act of self-respect. Ease comes when you finally realize that your value doesn't decrease when you pause. You are just as worthy resting as achieving. When I started practicing real rest, not just like scrolling on my phone mindlessly or doing something productive in disguise, but genuine stillness because I knew it was what I needed, I realized that the world didn't fall apart when I stopped. Can I do more things? Sure. But when I don't rest, I fall apart. When I do rest, I have so much more clarity and energy and creativity and peace. Do note, rest is not the same thing as laziness. And I'm not going to go into laziness because I think we all know what it means to be lazy. Rest is leadership. It is saying that I cannot be my best self if I am totally depleted. So I refuse to keep trying. So what does that practically look like? Well, stop working at a decent hour. Book a massage, walk slower, breathe more deeply. Build your schedule around opportunities for rest instead of cramming it in at the last minute like an afterthought. If you are a napper, schedule in a nap without apologizing for it. If you can do that, I am so jealous of you, but I can't because my body doesn't really understand the meaning of a power nap. It makes me feel like those videos, have y'all seen them where the pet owner is trying to see how their pet is going to react, and so they put in their dog or their cat's bowl just like a little bit of food, and that dog or cat looks at them real crazy, hangry, completely mad because they know that they're not going to be satisfied. Yeah, that is me with a power nap. Anyway, I digress. Here's the truth. Even God rested. So if he needed it, certainly I do as well. Rest is not something that you earn because you've done enough. It is something that you honor because you are enough and you just have to allow it. Moving with main character energy. Like I said before, this is not arrogance, even though sometimes it may look like arrogance, but it's not. It is walking around with the understanding that you were not created for the sole purpose of being an extra in somebody else's story. You were intentionally created and placed here for a purpose. Main character energy is what happens when you stop waiting for somebody else to choose you, invite you, or validate you. You start choosing yourself and showing up fully in the life that you've already been blessed with. Even if that life has been full of hardships and disappointments, you can always find the blessings if you're looking for them. You carry yourself differently when you know who you are. You speak differently. You walk into rooms differently, not because you're trying to prove anything or you feel this need to prove anything, but because you finally believe that you belong there. I used to shrink myself in so many spaces, nervous to be seen, afraid of being too much. But the truth is that shrinking never served me and it won't serve you either. Having a privileged mindset allows you to be able to move through life with a assuredness and this soft boldness. You know that your life has meaning and purpose. You know that you have value, that you bring value, and so you show up like it. That is main character energy. It is knowing that you don't have to fight for your place because you already have one. It is you owning your story, flaws and all, understanding that your journey doesn't disqualify you, but it develops you. So from this point forward, I want you to walk like the woman that you see when you allow yourself to dream. Dress like her, walk like her, decide like her. Because like I said before, we are not waiting on someday. She is you right now, the moment you decide to stop waiting and to start showing up. These are the privileged mindsets that make your life feel effortless. It is the way you move, the way you think, the way you speak, the way that you protect your rest and your peace. Because you believe that you're worthy of ease, you start making daily decisions that align with that belief. Privilege in this context is not about status. It's about standards. It is choosing faith over fear and peace over chaos and deciding to live in intention instead of on autopilot. When you start moving differently through life, life starts moving differently for you. So if you've been feeling like you just need a bit more of that in your life, then it is time to start living with more privilege. So here's my challenge for you this week. Which of these habits are you ready to lean into first? Drop it in the comments and let me know what is one privilege shift that you are going to start making today. If this video spoke to you, go ahead and give it a like and share it with somebody else who needs it. Also, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? I'm gonna need you to jump on that. Alrighty, my friends, I love you so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in my next. Mwah. Bye for now.